Imagine arriving in a foreign land, a crucial ally in wartime, only to be met with a chilling decree: touch our land and die. This was the stark warning U.S. Marines reportedly faced in New Zealand in 1942.
This isn't just a tale of military strategy, but a profound clash of cultures. We'll uncover the truth behind this ominous message, its origins, and the legacy it left on wartime alliances. By 1942, World War II was raging. The attack on Pearl Harbor had thrust the United States into a global conflict, escalating the Pacific theater. The Japanese advance was swift and brutal, threatening Allied strongholds and supply lines across the vast expanse of the Pacific Ocean. Australia and New Zealand, vital members of the British Commonwealth, found themselves on the front line, facing an existential threat. Their own experienced troops were largely deployed to North Africa and Europe, leaving them vulnerable to potential invasion. In this desperate hour, the United States became their crucial partner, deploying vast numbers of troops and resources. New Zealand, with its temperate climate and distance from the immediate war zones, was chosen as a critical staging and training ground. It offered a safe haven for weary troops and a robust base for preparing for the island-hopping campaigns to come. Tens of thousands of U.S. Marines, fresh from basic training or redeployment, began pouring into New Zealand's shores. They were young, eager, and often oblivious to the profound cultural landscape they were entering. For many, New Zealand was simply another stop on the long road to war, a place to train, eat, and await orders. But New Zealand was not just land, it was Aotearoa, the land of the long white cloud, imbued with centuries of Māori history and spirituality. The Māori people, the indigenous Polynesian inhabitants, had a deep spiritual connection to their ancestral lands, known as whenua. This connection was not merely economic or geographical. It was an intrinsic part of their identity, their lineage, and their spiritual well-being. Central to Māori culture were concepts like tapu, sacredness or prohibition, and mana, prestige, authority, and spiritual power. Tapu designated places, objects, or people as sacred, demanding reverence and respect, often associated with ancestral burial grounds or significant historical sites. To violate tapu was not just a social transgression, it was a spiritual offense with serious consequences, believed to bring misfortune or sickness. It was within this profound cultural context that the warning, "Touch our land and die," truly emerged, often misinterpreted by the incoming American forces. The phrase was not a literal threat of physical violence from the Māori people against the Marines, but a deep spiritual caution. It was a warning against the desecration of sacred lands, the disturbance of ancestral spirits, and the erosion of cultural integrity. For the Māori, the land held the bones of their ancestors, the stories of their past, and the promise of their future. To touch or disturb this land disrespectfully was to disrespect the very essence of their being, potentially invoking severe spiritual retribution. Many Marines, however, operating under wartime pressures, simply saw vast, undeveloped tracts of land as ideal for training. They set up camps, dug trenches, conducted live-fire exercises, and even carved their names into natural landmarks, oblivious to their cultural significance. In their haste and lack of awareness, some burial sites were inadvertently disturbed, or areas of immense spiritual importance were treated as mere terrain. The cultural divide was vast. American individualism contrasted sharply with Maori communalism and deep ancestral reverence. The local New Zealand authorities and Maori leaders swiftly recognized the potential for severe friction and attempted to bridge this gap. Educational efforts were initiated, attempting to inform the thousands of arriving Marines about Maori customs, values, and the sanctity of the land. However, with the constant influx of new recruits and the urgency of war, these messages didn't always penetrate effectively or universally. One common flashpoint was the desecration of traditional pa sites, fortified Maori villages that often held significant historical and spiritual value. These sites were sometimes mistaken for simple earthworks or hills, perfect for tactical exercises, leading to inadvertent damage.
Another source of contention involved water sources. Rivers and springs were often considered sacred, particularly those used for ceremonial purposes. Marines, in need of water for hygiene or even recreation, sometimes used these sources without understanding their profound cultural significance. The Māori concern wasn't about denying resources to allies, but about preventing the spiritual pollution of sites vital to their identity. Local communities would report instances of disrespect, leading to sometimes tense but necessary dialogues between military command and Māori elders. These interactions highlighted the fundamental differences in how land was perceived as a resource for war versus a living, spiritual entity. Despite the misunderstandings, the overall relationship between the U.S. Marines and the people of New Zealand remained one of strong alliance. The shared goal of defeating the Axis powers often transcended cultural friction, cementing a bond forged in the crucible of war. Yet the warning, "Touch our land and die," served as a powerful reminder of the hidden costs of cultural insensitivity, even among allies. It underscored the importance of understanding and respecting indigenous cultures, a lesson that would become increasingly relevant in future global deployments. The Maori experience with the Marines during World War II stands as a unique historical case study of military presence interacting with deeply rooted indigenous traditions. It highlights the challenges of cultural integration, even when intentions are honorable and shared objectives are paramount. The Marines who trained in New Zealand went on to fight heroically in iconic battles like Guadalcanal, Tarawa, and Iwo Jima. Their rigorous training in New Zealand helped prepare them for the harsh realities of jungle warfare and amphibious assaults. The lessons learned, both military and cultural, contributed to their resilience and eventual success in the Pacific. Today, the legacy of the U.S. Marines in New Zealand is remembered with a mix of gratitude for their wartime sacrifice and respect for cultural lessons learned. Museums and historical societies in New Zealand preserve the stories of these interactions, ensuring the unique cultural dialogue is not forgotten. The phrase, "touch our land and die," echoes not as a threat, but as a poignant historical testament to the power of indigenous beliefs. It reminds us that victory in war extends beyond the battlefield to the respect and understanding of the people and lands we encounter. This cultural narrative remains a vital part of both American and New Zealand's wartime history, offering lessons that resonate even today. The memory of these Marines and their interaction with Aotearoa serves as a bridge, connecting two distinct cultures through the shared trials of World War II. As we reflect on their journey, we gain a deeper appreciation for the complexities of global conflicts and the human stories they contain. The readiness of the Marines was paramount, but so too was the spiritual well-being of the land and its people. The story serves as a cautionary tale. True alliances are built not just on military might, but on mutual respect and understanding. The Marine Corps themselves acknowledged the value of cultural sensitivity in later conflicts. The experiences in New Zealand, however challenging, contributed to this evolving understanding. Many individual Marines formed genuine friendships with New Zealanders, including Maori, bridging the cultural gap on a personal level. These personal connections often helped to smooth over larger misunderstandings and fostered goodwill. The New Zealand government, while welcoming the Allied presence, also had a responsibility to protect its indigenous heritage. They acted as intermediaries, facilitating communications and education between the vastly different groups. The presence of thousands of young, energetic American soldiers also brought economic and social changes to quiet New Zealand towns. Local women often interacted with the Marines, leading to romances, marriages, and a lasting human connection across continents. These personal stories further complicated the narrative of cultural clash, adding layers of intimacy and shared experience. However, the core issue of land sanctity remained paramount for the Maori, a non-negotiable aspect of their identity.
The challenge was how to prepare for a brutal war while simultaneously respecting ancient traditions. The warning, "Touch our land and die," served as a constant, albeit subtle, reminder of this delicate balance. It highlighted the responsibility of any occupying or allied force to understand the cultural fabric of their host nation. The outcome wasn't always perfect, but the dialogue initiated during these years laid groundwork for future understanding. New Zealand's contribution to the war effort was immense, and the U.S. presence bolstered their defenses against Japanese aggression. But this strategic alliance came with social and cultural complexities that are still studied by historians today. The phrase became almost legendary, a vivid encapsulation of the clash between two very different worldviews. It's a powerful reminder that history is not just about battles and treaties, but about people, land, and the sacred values that define them. The enduring legacy of the U.S. Marines in New Zealand is a testament to both the strength of wartime alliances and the profound power of cultural identity. This story, rich in nuance and historical significance, urges us to look beyond the surface of military records. It compels us to understand the deeper human and spiritual dimensions that shape the course of history. The Marines departed New Zealand, leaving behind not just memories, but a complex tapestry of interactions. Some local areas, heavily impacted by the military presence, retained specific stories of friction and reconciliation. The Māori people, in particular, ensured that the memory of land desecration, however unintentional, was preserved. This wasn't to harbor resentment, but to educate future generations on the sacredness of their whenua. The story of the U.S. Marines and the Maori warning serves as a unique chapter in the larger narrative of World War II. It's a powerful testament to how global events intersect with local cultures, creating unforeseen challenges and profound lessons. The respect for whenua and tapu was not just a local custom, but a fundamental right to self-determination and identity. Understanding this deep connection is key to appreciating the intensity of the "touch our land and die" warning. It transcended a mere command. It was a plea for recognition of their ancient spiritual world. This untold story continues to educate, reminding us of the intricate human dimensions of global conflicts. The Marines came to fight a war, but they also encountered a civilization with a wisdom as old as the land itself. The warning, initially dismissed, became a powerful cultural lesson for those willing to listen and learn. The respect garnered from such lessons strengthened the bonds between nations in unexpected ways. The narrative isn't about blame, but about the complex journey towards mutual understanding amidst global turmoil. It's a reminder that even in war, humanity's quest for connection and respect remains vital. The echoes of "touch our land and die" resonate, not as a threat, but as an eternal plea for reverence. A plea for understanding the sacredness that binds a people to their ancestral home. This unique historical encounter provides invaluable insights into cultural diplomacy and military operations. It highlights how critical it is to educate forces on the local customs and spiritual beliefs of host nations. The ignored warning ultimately became a profound, enduring lesson for generations. A lesson etched into the landscapes of New Zealand and the annals of World War II history. This story continues to serve as a powerful reminder of cultural reverence and the universal quest for respect. Thank you for joining us on this journey through a pivotal yet often overlooked moment in history. Your support makes these stories possible. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates and deep dives into history's most fascinating untold narratives.